The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
The 1420 Sports Bar Podcast, Sport Beer Sports Talk, and a whole lot more. Episode number 355, brought to you by SeatGeek.com. The SeatGeek app. Use promo code 1420pod over there at SeatGeek.com and save yourself $20 on their first purchase. Remember, we are part of the Belly Up Media Network. Go to BellyUpSports.com for all their great articles and other great podcasts, such as the Corner Booth Podcast, Rise to the Occasion, No Credentials Required, and my favorite, my guys over there at the Craft Brewed Sports on Tuesday nights. Make sure you check out Mike and the guys over there at Craft Brewed. And thank you very much from all of us here at 1420 World Headquarters for listening to the show and following us along on Twitter and everything else, guys. Thank you very much for that. Dave, you were down in the great state of Montana once again, getting all holidayed up and everything else. How was things down in Montana?
It was nice and low key, and that was what the plan was. It little sketchy roads going down. It is that time of year. Not gonna bitch. So we just hung out. We did some Christmas shopping, picked up our Amazon packages, and watched a movie and came home on Sunday. And it was a nice little trip. Good to get away.
There you go. We had Deanne's Christmas party for the I'm not going to say who it was for, but for her place of employment there on Saturday night. And let's just say that there's some people who work at her place of employment who aren't the most seasoned vets when it comes to consuming adult beverages, especially when they're free.
They must be young, because when I was young in my 20s, like free bar meant I'm getting my money's worth, and that means
they got their money's worth. They didn't hold her very well, is what I'm getting at.
They didn't conduct themselves accordingly.
They're 30 and younger, and they were having a good time. I'm not besmirching at all. They were having a good time and a well-deserved Christmas party. Those guys worked pretty hard over there, but yeah, it was. There were some situations where they were chucking some thunder down the old toilet bowl a little bit there at the place there. Yeah.
How many people? Like 50?
I think it was 35, 40. Yeah, there was 35.
Oh, okay, so it's an intimate affair.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and it was a good time, and they had the music playlist was done already. It was just on Spotify, so it wasn't the DJ or anything. So, but they picked their own. It was fun. The meal was good, but it was you could tell that they don't indulge very often, but when they do, they make sure to get their money's worth.
Well, I'm glad they had fun and no one got hurt. I hope no relationships got ruined, because you hear those stories about things that happen at the office Christmas party. When
everybody whoever they came with, they went home with, and that was they're a very close group of co-workers there, and everybody gets along really well. No, it was a good event. It was just a nice way to wrap up their year. It was fun. And, like it was like I just go, like I just sit there and I talk. I speak when spoken to, compared to when it's my events where I speak when not spoken to. So it was actually quite a bit different for me. So no, it was a good time. But yeah,
buffet style or served?
Pardon me?
The meal buffet style or
buffet? But there was separate courses and stuff. No, it was fantastic. It was a really, really good meal. Like
any KFC?
There was no KFC.
Oh man, I'm disappointed. I was really hoping for you for a little.
That's KFC. What we're probably having for the Redlinsky family Christmas, because we're in the middle of a move, so that might be happening in about 14 days from right now, actually, when it all said and done. Dave, when you were down in Montana on Saturday afternoon, in the news that Shohei Ohtani signed a contract with the Dodgers. Actually, I wanted to talk to you a little bit. You're not a Jays guy by any means, but you're a Twitter guy and everything else. What were your thoughts on Friday afternoon from about 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock Mountain Standard Time? Check your local listings. When there was the plane ride was happening. Ohtani was allegedly on it. What was your train of thought when that was all happening?
Well, here's the thing. I'm the perfect guinea pig for this, because we wanted to jet out early. You want to drive it in as much daylight as you can. It being the season that it is, 3-hour drive ahead of you to Montana. I was at work and I wasn't able to duck out until about 3:30. I got home, shit, shower, shave, pack the car, and let's get the fuck out of here. So it wasn't until we left city limits that Jasper said to me from the back seat, "Hey, Dad, did you hear the Jays signed Ohtani?" And I said, "They did not."
I thought they did.
And he says, "Oh yeah, where'd you hear that?" He goes, "On my MLB app." Really? And
No,
then,
it was legit. It was not passing, but it was I can't remember, one of the heavy hitters. He said
that's
that
what I was told.
he's on the airplane, blah blah blah. It's a done deal, and all the stories were coming about. I'm sorry to interrupt, but yeah, it was unreal.
Well, yeah, and then so Kaylee, I just handed her my phone and I go like, "Fucking find, tell me this, read it to me." She goes, "I can't find it. I can't find it. It says he signed. Like, for how much? Doesn't say." And I said, "I don't know then, buddy. I don't know until we see a number, then I'm not going to believe this." But it was like, and when we got to the house in Montana, I looked and like he was right. Like it was the MLB app. Like he gets notifications from that. And then then we came to the conclusion, I don't think it's final, which doesn't mean it's not going to happen. And then so that's where I was. I was in the dark even more than I normally am for something like that, which actually means I didn't get hoodwinked like 95% of Jays fans here in Canada. There was some uproar on Saturday.
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, we'll fast forward to Saturday there, and then the around 2:00 our time, I think it was 2 or 3:00, whatever it was. The news came about that he got 10 at 70, and I was what? Because I know we've talked about in the past, and I thought he was going to be a $1 billion guy. It turns out it's actually $1 billion Canadian that he got when it comes down to it. Like it's the 70 million American, but he was out pitching, and he was not going to pitch next year in the second Tommy John. I thought, okay, let's cool it back from the $1 billion that I thought to about, I thought maybe 50. Because that was the rumors that I was reading everywhere. There was 50, and then I heard that somebody was willing to go because there was the Dodgers, the Giants, the Cubs, the Jays, and Atlanta, I think, that were all kind of kicking around there. Oh no, the Angels were still kind of in there, but if I knew he wasn't going back to the Angels because they would have had that done already. Was my thought. And then when it came out that he got 10 at 70, I just what? I couldn't believe it. I was because you put it in perspective and you started thinking of you started reading it because instantly Twitter was ablaze and everything else, and the belly up chat was all nuts, and you go, $700 million, like every American could get $1.5 million and he'd still have money left over, and that's American, not even Canadians.
Not $1 million, $1.50. There's 350 million Americans, right? So that's a buck each, right?
But just the money, like it's just fucking.
It's gross. It's gross. The dollar figure 70 mil. Like we talked about it last week. We just touched upon it, like how much money he makes in endorsements. So like he's fine
50.
that way. Even without,
I read today 50 a year.
Yeah, that's what I read as well. And then also, but as an owner, he's not worth that much on the field as an actual baseball product, but the amount of revenue he's going to generate, like by season ticket sales and then novelty sales. Well, yeah, like every 10 every person in the stands, aside from their seat, there's an extra $100, right? While like two beer and a hot dog. Well, like not $100, but let's say $50, just as a conservative estimate. So every seat you sell, you got all this revenue generated. He's going to generate revenue for the team that he plays for.
Well, and then the Japanese market, now people are going to be buying the Dodger stuff because he's huge in Japan, obviously, right? And like it's an I don't want to say it's an off because now we've heard some things today. We'll get off this in half a second here, but we heard some things today how he's going to get paid too. They're going to divert salary, which we knew they were going to, but it's only be getting paid $2. I don't want to get into the economics and the accountants because I don't know enough how it all works. It doesn't make sense to my little brain, but if he was getting that $70 million, that's not a baseball move. That is not a baseball move by any means for a guy who's going to be a DH probably full time in about 3 or 4 years. Really. He's 29 years old already. He's probably not going to pitch because he already had the second Tommy John. It's not like he's not all these Tommy John guys like Nate Eovaldi last forever, right? So you have a guy that's going to be a relatively a DH for the last probably 6 years, 5 years anyways, of this contract. He probably won't pitch past 2029, realistically.
Well,
right?
traditionally speaking, yeah, like what you said, he's 28.
29, yeah.
So yeah, like so your peak power years are done 33, 34. And so they're now you're if you squint, you're halfway done. And then so there's 5 years. Like look at how Albert Pujols was in this last
Ooh.
3 years, right? It was gross, and he took that money from the Angels, and why wouldn't you? Like when someone
I have nothing against the Dodgers. I have nothing against Ohtani. Nothing. Somebody offered, they had it. They know they're going to make money. Ohtani said, "Yeah, I'll take it." I got nothing against any of the parties because anyone listening to our show or anybody listening to any other show, if somebody offered you $700 million, you would hit your pants first and then sign the contract.
Yes.
Yep, done.
That's it. Like just get. Well, we haven't really fucking 700 million. Like, show me where to fucking sign it. I'll sign it twice. You know, like it's a no brainer, and it's obviously there's people a lot smarter than us that are doing these calculations. But then again, if Ohtani doesn't figure out how to pitch after he recuperates from this last Tommy John, how are the Dodgers going to win a World Series? Like, because I
did I had a breaking little news conference there on Saturday afternoon, so I was kind of revved up about it. This doesn't make them a better baseball team.
Mm-mm.
A guy can only hit, and he's going to play DH 154 times. He'll have some nights off. So 4 or 5 at bats tonight this year. So that's 1 year off that contract. It's $70 million. They're a better baseball team, but they're not a better baseball team, if that makes any sense.
They're not $70 million better.
No.
They're $20 million better? I don't know.
I never thought about this, Dave, but like you say that, and it's more and more obvious that this deal was 100% a baseball or a business decision and not a baseball decision.
It's a team economic decision.
Yeah.
Far more than a product on the field.
The Guggenheim Group. They said we're going to make money off of this guy because the $70 million or whatever years deferred payments and blah 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 whatever it's going to be. This was not to make their. Are they a better team? Yeah, their DH position is going to hit better. There's no getting around that. But not $70 million better. Not a fucking chance.
Really, and then also this is one of those things too, where he is the unicorn, where he can put up all-star numbers as a starting pitcher if he does recuperate. But this isn't one of the things like they do in football and hockey of like setting the market. He is the market. There is no product like him. And so this the PA has to be really happy for him, like, because the PA is always happy when someone grabs their bag, but no agent is able to come to the owners and say, hey, this is a comparable. It's not a comparable. It's not, because
you're not dealing with that Japanese market that's just a moneymaker, right? You're right. Not. Like Soto's going to get a big bag of dough from whoever signs him in the offseason. He already turned down $450 last year, I think it was from the Nationals out there in Washington. Then they traded him off the whole bit. So it's like Scott Boras can't walk up to whoever in the next offseason and say, well, Ohtani got 70, we want 80. He's a better player and he's younger and on and on. Well, that's not how it works, right?
Yeah, go fuck. And
so it's just it's I don't want to say it was kind of a bad day for baseball because it kind of exposed that we knew because we're not complete idiots. We got a little bit of age on us, but it showed how much of a business it actually is. Like, it's just a business.
Yeah, well, and it just illuminated the fact that it's just not about the productivity from the player from the athletic standpoint, right? This guy is a product in and of himself, right? He's a brand that they wanted to be affiliated with. when he does all these ads for whatever he does in Japan for his shoes, for his booze, for whatever.
Dodger jersey on.
They want a Dodger jersey on that.
Dodger hat, Dodger whatever. Like it's
you bet. That's what they want. They're paying for international branding far more than they're paying for.
The people buying the MLB app over there, which they already were probably, but now it's like with the Dodger games and the advertising that they can get. The advertising that they can get inside Dodger Stadium now from the Japanese markets. I remember when Ichiro was in Seattle, same kind of thing, right? They had different Japanese advertising in there. No, it's crazy.
And the luxury seats, right? And the travel packages for Japanese, Asian crazy baseball fans, right?
Yeah,
they're going to make bank on that, and they're going to be there. That bank is going to be there to be made for at least 5 years.
$700 million.
And then maybe in 10 years, $70 million. Is it? Here's a question: in 10 years, when his contract is done, will he be a top 10 paid player in 10 years from now?
No.
So someone's going to be making 80, 90 million by
some kid who's in high school right now is going to be making more. Think about that.
How far does he get in the contract before he's no longer highest paid?
Year 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's just I just thought of that, but that's so heads and far.
Well,
far
you think about it. A-Rod got that $25 million a year deal back in 2001, I think it was, or 2000.
I think it was even earlier. It was when I was living in Calgary. The Rangers signed him to that.
Yeah.
Right?
So let's say 98, 99, whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's like, "Holy fuck, that's crazy." And then it went to 30, and then pitchers were getting 35, and now Judge got 40, whatever, and then Trout got 40 because Trout's 7-8 years into his $40 million deal, right? Like it's gone up a lot lately, right? Like it's escalated quickly, in my opinion, in the last 10 years, where it's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
like in basketball, guys are getting 60. Well, basketball guys are getting 60.
Yeah,
right.
If you know their name in the NBA, well, especially you and I, they're making 35 plus.
Yeah.
So it's the salaries in sport like that is just gross. It's gross, and you know what, Ohtani, and if anyone had to get this kind of salary, I'm glad it is Ohtani, because he is the unicorn. He is doing something. He's a generational player in the true sense of the word. You don't have a generational player every fucking draft in every fucking sport. I'm tired of hearing that fucking phrase, generational player. Generational players happen every 15 to 20 years.
You wonder how many crazy baseball dads out there right now are making sure their kids are two-position players, right? Hitters and pitchers.
Oh, you bet.
Hey,
well, yeah.
Compared to a pitcher only or a hitter, or a defensive guy. No, he can do both. He can do both.
Well, right? Because we've said it before, right? All the best pitchers were good hitters in Little League, right?
Yeah.
Until they get to college or whatever.
Or until whatever American League say,
now
I'm
you're
going to concentrate on pitching, I'm going to concentrate on defense, whatever it is. So now every dad out there is like, you're playing both. $700 million. $700 million. See what you got? And giving coaches shit for not letting their kid hit and pitch.
You bet, because
I guarantee it. I guarantee it.
When that recruiter comes and sits for coffee and Fig Newtons in the front room, dad is saying, or mom, someone is saying, yeah, no, he's doing both. Well, we think his future really lies as a pitcher.
No, you can do
he's
both.
Doing both. Okay, well, so and so we're waiting for Coach Blow from Jigsaw State here, and he said he's going to be able to do both. So
unbelievable. Anyways,
it's going to be interesting going forward. You're right.
Like, because there was at that Christmas party on Saturday night there, like a couple 3 hours after it got announced, there were some guys who follow sports a lot, and then they know that we do the podcast and everything else, so they kind of got my thoughts on it, and they go, like 700? I said, yeah, man, 700. Like, holy, because it just doesn't compute. Like, it just doesn't. You just can't.
It's so much more than anybody ever. And, it makes me just laugh how the Jays fans were just taken for a ride. This was a total crafted plan by the agent. I don't know who was just like, come on, Dodgers. Like maybe they were at 62 and a half. Yeah. And then like, fuck, 62 and a half, and we're living in the smog. Like the Jays are going to give us 60, and, you know, cost of living, East Coast travel. Fuck that. We're going to go there because he has his Japan money waiting for him. And then they set this
I
whole
heard
thing
500. Up. I heard 500, and then there's one or two teams willing to go to 6.
Yeah,
is what I was everywhere, right? And then, but basically the going rate was 500, and that escalated from Tuesday. Tuesday was at 5, and it went to 700 on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, that's like whoever did this for Ohtani, like his agent, like kudos to you. You just got him $10 to $15 million extra per
year.
Yeah, you just milked the Dodgers for $150 million.
That everybody said he was going to anyways.
Yes.
That's what's the most messed up thing is the Dodgers outbid themselves when everybody knew he was going there 2 years ago. And
then it just became a matter of a thing. We got to prove to the Dodgers that someone else is an actual viable suitor. Yeah. And then like the Blue Jays, who the fuck do we know on the Blue Jays? We don't know anybody on the Blue Jays, right? And then like there's no owner meeting because they're owned by a corporation, right? They're owned by Rogers. So like you can't like, is there one guy you can phone at Rogers? So it's
it would have been Atkins and the other guy, but
yeah. But like, you know, they're not the ones signing a check for that. They got to go upstairs, and then Rogers is going to have an emergency board of governors meeting.
Yeah, I think I think you're right. I think that the Dodgers got played a lot by the Ohtani group, and then the pawn was the Jays. I believe that wholeheartedly.
And millions of Canadians are heartbroken.
Yeah, there's people getting their fucking their Jays jerseys fucking silk screen with Ohtani on the back of it.
I imagine there's a couple on order, like cancel order, go to cart.
I guarantee there was people at fucking Jersey City here in Lethbridge getting them done already. Every time there's a Jersey City, there's an Ohtani. What number does he wear? I don't give a shit. But there's there's Ohtani jerseys in someone's basement, or they actually they had them made, and then Saturday night when they were drinking their Molson, they fucking burned them watching the Leafs game on Saturday night. That's probably what happened.
Cancel
fuck
order.
Him,
cancel
fuck
order,
that. Fucking Ohtani. They burned that jersey they had for 30 years. Guaranteed.
But it was good. It's something to talk about, and you know what? As a Jays fan, at least people were talking about your team.
And the thing is, like, it doesn't matter. But he'll never play up to that number. Like, there's no way possible.
Zero chance.
Like, he'd have to break home run records every year and win a Cy Young. Okay, what would be a success for Ohtani, or for the Dodgers? Like, two World Series?
He needs
in Dodger fans' eyes, what would be a success for this guy?
A member
for their team.
3 World Series, being MVP at least once, NL MVP 4 times, and 1 Cy Young.
Never gonna happen.
I don't think so. But
for that kind of money, it's kind of gotta. That's
kind of what that's for. Like we said, it's not about the product on the field anymore.
If the $70 million was for on the field, that's what a Dodger fan should expect. But the $70 million is not an on the field product.
And it's impossible, right? Like there almost has to be a Cy Young, and there has to be a World Series MVP.
There has to be at least 2 World Championships.
Minimum. Yeah. And then with at least 2 or 3 NL MVPs in there too.
It's crazy. It's so fucking
good work if you can do it, right?
Anyways, let's take a little break here, then we'll get into our Week 14 NFL 14-20 style look back, review, whatever we call it. I can't remember what we call it. Got a lot going on.
Bad week for the podcast family again. Bad week.
Oh, I'm the biggest fraud in football right now. I'm so upset with myself. Anyway, it's a 1420 Sports Bar podcast for Beer Sports Talk and a whole lot more. This segment is brought to you by SeatGeek.com and the SeatGeek app. Use promo code 1420pod at SeatGeek.com today and save some $20 on your first purchase.